Good morning. Good morning.
There he is.
Hey, I don't know what happened. Did it work? It worked. Everything worked.
Yeah, that was climactic.
You had me worried.
The guys are wondering if you were going to be in your car again this weekend, going through drive-thrus.
No, I mean I actually was just sitting in. I'm sitting in the same place, but I was just sitting in my car, literally. I'm gonna show. Well, Miami guys, they don't care because it's nice. Well, my Jersey guys, it's green grass.
Wow,
No, we paint
that's
it.
nice.
Paint that stuff. Oh yeah, I'm in the same place, but I'm actually in a room. Hopefully, we can stay in it. So, how we doing, Kev? Thank you.
We're doing well. Still got a couple guys that just went to the bathroom real quick. They'll be joining us in a minute.
Okay.
We just finished up with Lauren.
Awesome. My favorite test employee.
My wife. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That was smooth. Take a break. Take a break. Yep. Yep.
What's up? They don't realize how long we've known each other.
I know. We go back over a decade. You guys were I don't think you guys were teenagers yet. It's probably accurate. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
Started this process in this industry before most of you guys were even alive. That would be 1996. When we got most of you guys born?
None of them. Nobody in there has been. I think 90. I think we had somebody. No, everybody in there is born in 2000.
2000, 2001.
2003.
Ooh. Wow, youngins.
It's very scary. Can you actually see my screen? I just want to just a little test.
Yeah, it's not super big. I think we can open it up here. Yeah, there you go. All right, I'm gonna mute myself here, and then you can have the floor.
All right, Joe, how you doing up there? Good. You can see the screen too. Okay, perfect. All right, you guys, we're gonna get ourselves started. All right, perfect. That's a good little test. Kevin, did you want to turn your camera around so I can make sure guys aren't sleeping? I'm just teasing, but it's all good. All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna get us going. Jersey, you guys ready? All right. So hopefully the Jersey guys are tracking this. They know that they need to have their notebooks. They should be prepared. They should have some kind of way in order to keep some notes. My Miami players, I know that you guys have your notes. Y'all were really prepared last week. So we're going to start digging in. So technically this is my week one with you all as far as education is concerned. And so I shared some things with you all last week. We met individually for some I've talked to on the phone already or had extra sessions. If that's not you, then you should be asking yourself, how come it's not me that he's talking about? So let's just text or do something so that way we can kind of keep going and find time with each other, 15, 20 minutes even, just to make sure that you guys are accomplishing the things that you need to accomplish. For those of you who I have not met that have come back from some bowl game, hello. Nice to see you all. Nice to meet you for the first time. So we're just going to, like I mentioned, just kind of dig right in. I'm going to be sharing my screen with you all today a little bit. But before that, I want to just check in. My Miami folks, I asked you all to make sure that you have your expo markers. So hopefully you all have that, and you're good to go on that end, and you're ready to start this next process, because I'm getting ready to share with you why that expo marker is important. So hopefully we'll be ready to go with regards to that. So without further ado, so here we go. And I'm going to put this in there for those of you who are new to me. I'm going to put my phone number down here so that you all have it. You'll see it scrolling somewhere. 6 add. So there's my number for those of you who do not have it. So this is the process. You guys are at least 2 weeks into working out, specifically kind of getting going, doing some preliminary testing. You guys have some goals that you're looking to accomplish. So with that being said, I wanted to talk through a little bit about that. One of the things for the New Jersey guys, this will maybe be a little bit new to you. I had mentioned to the Florida fellows that they need to get an expo marker, or a dry erase marker is probably the generic name of that. And so the reason that we want to have that is because there's certain things that we want to be able, or to begin writing on places in which we live, and our cars and things of that sort. So what we really want to be able to accomplish is this. We want to be able to take that expo marker. You've all gone through goal setting in your pro day and your medical review day. There's things that we've talked about individually. There's things that you guys have shared that you really want to accomplish. I had asked most everyone who texted me this question of what is the one thing that you really need tests to provide you essentially when you leave. And so we're going to be talking through some of those things, but more importantly, I really want you to be able to start writing out, using and utilizing things that maybe you have done in the past. So one of the things with the expo marker is very easy. If you're trying to run a 4-7-40 or whatever it is, if you're trying to lift or bench or trying to do the 3-cone or the L drill or broad jump or whatever the stuff is that you're trying to accomplish for your pro day, I literally need you to write that on your bathroom mirror. It needs to be seen every day. Once you do that, you could then do the second step, which is a little extra. You could either take a picture of that mirror, or you can write those goals down in your phone in a note, and then screenshot it, and that could be your background picture. So for an example, I have some people already have done their passcode so that they're writing in their 40 number 1,000,000 times. Awesome. Let's keep doing that. Then when your phone lights up, you're like seeing the background picture of your goals that you have already created or started or wanted to walk or work through. That's super important. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that, because one of the things that we need to make sure is that I'm going to just walk you through the little bit of goal setting, but the reason behind it. Okay, the reason behind it. I like to teach, but I also want people to understand the reason behind the things that they have heard or were told that you should do this. And I'm going to tell you why you should actually do it from a little bit of a science perspective, but also because I know throughout this process what it really does for you. So why are we even setting goals? You guys should be able to say, oh, because of that. But literally, this is the definition. It says to deliberately, that word is intentional, intentionally energize, direct, and sustain behavior so that way we can ensure progress. I got the spinny wheel of death jersey down there in Florida. It's too warm for them. I'm going to keep going, though. So that's step one. Okay, we want to set these goals because we want to sustain behavior. We want to direct our behavior. We want to be able to be energized. Super important. It's very, very helpful for us. So the way that we do that is to write down the goals, right? To write down the things that we are trying to accomplish. And it helps hold you accountable. This is what it actually does. Okay, so if you're a note taker or you're a picture taker or whatever you do, this is something you might want to just have handy. Okay, so your goals, these things that we're talking about that are so important for you to try to accomplish, well, what do they do? Why are we even talking about this? Well, it directs your behavior, it adjusts your behavior. Hopefully, that's where we are right now in some of us, and it sustains us, sustains our behavior, and it activates our behavior. If you know where you want to go, that should be activating. We good, Kevin? I know you muted yourself, but
We're good now. Are you guys also having an issue in New Jersey?
no.
No, it's just us.
Yeah.
All right, we got 4 bars, so we should
No,
be.
we good over.
You good over there?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we're good now.
Yeah. Only thing, I kind of took a pause anyway, so we're right here. Everybody tracking the screen? So what I shared that you guys missed down there in Miami, but it's worth repeating anyway for Miami folks and for my Jersey folks. So what does goal setting actually do? It does these 4 things, okay? It directs our behavior, tells us where we need to go. It adjusts our behavior. You're going to be doing a lot of that while you're at test. It's going to sustain our behavior over time when we get to weeks 5, 6, 7, weeks 8, 9, and 10, right before the pro day, right before combine, right before tryouts. We need to be able to sustain this behavior. This is called the peak, the peak, the peak. And ultimately, it activates our behavior. So if you think about it, this is the whole formula when we talk about, well, why do we even set goals? Now, the reason that I'm having you expo, take pictures, see these things over and over again is because A, I need it to be directing your behavior, and B, I need it to be adjusting your behavior. Meaning that when you start seeing these goals that you have set for yourself, knowing that these things are going to allow you or give you an opportunity to do the thing that you're trying to do in the future, hopefully that activates your behavior, that sustains your behavior over time, because it then tells you what you really need to be focusing in on, that we're not going through the motions. Everything that you're doing in all of the different areas that you all are doing it are vitally important for you to take 1/10 of a second off, for you to be able to lift 1 more rep of 225, for you to be a little bit more sharp on the balls of your feet, for the inside of your feet, for the L drill and cone drill, to be able to jump a little bit further, a little bit higher. Every one of these little things are very important. And so we have to make sure that we're really paying attention to the details of all of the drills, the lifts, our nutrition specifically, because if we don't, we're going to miss the mark. And unfortunately, what will have to happen is you will have to adjust your behavior and or your goal that you originally set out to try to accomplish. And I want to ensure that you don't, like, if you have shooting for the, you got these high marks we want to hit, let's go after it. But this is actually how you'll be able to do it. We got to direct the behavior, adjust the behavior, sustain it, and activate it. And I mentioned, if you guys are a picture taker people, you can take a picture of this, but just keep in mind that this is recorded. It will go into the classroom. And I actually will make sure that from last week for Miami, that your thing is in there. I'm not really sure why your video isn't populating, but we'll make sure that these things happen. If it doesn't, for some reason, hop in that classroom, I can literally text this to everybody in Miami too, just in case it doesn't work. So just kind of keep me in the loop on that. So that's what we have. Everybody tracking this, hopefully, thus far. So now this is what it does. Okay. So one of the things that I want to kind of talk to you all about is this: where motivation comes from. Why do we set these types of goals? I want you all in your own headspace, look at this and start to understand why I'm motivated, where it's coming from, Can I shift it from external to internal while I'm at test? If I can, maybe you can't, but I'm praying that you can. Okay. If you actually kind of walk through some of these things. Okay. I mentioned this before. You are now professionals. Okay. Some of you might still be taking some college classes, but in this space with this process, I'm treating you all as professionals. And so what that means is there's a little bit of hand holding because maybe we're doing the training, getting you onboarded, right? Like getting you started with the job kind of thing. Sure. But at the end of the day, you are responsible for your success. Okay. You, not your agent, not your mom, not your girlfriend, not Kevin, not Gare. You ultimately are responsible for your success, meaning that you can ask questions, you can do extra things that you need to do. Super important. Super important. Ask questions is the key to that. So if you're out there wondering, not only for yourself, but I want this to be super clear because a lot of times we see some of this stuff. So I'll talk quickly about the two things in the middle, but I want to talk more about these extremes. So many of you in your own mind, you might be motivated by rewards and punishment. What that looks like is money. Often money is a reward. A punishment obviously is I don't want to have to do that thing, or I don't want to have to go back and tell my friends that I didn't make it, or whatever that might look like. That's also part of shame and guilt. But think about money. If you are doing this for money, good luck. Everybody is doing this for money, meaning if you give me a couple dollars out, it'll be great. But ultimately, that does not sustain us. Okay, it doesn't sustain us. So for people to understand that, it takes a lot of maturity. Okay, just FYI. Money is helpful. It does a lot of great things. I know that you're going to even talk about financial security and how to set yourselves up. That's like it's super important. But if that is the only reason that you are motivated to do something, that will fade away. And ultimately, what I will say to you is that you will never have enough. I don't know how you all grew up specifically, but I know how I grew up, and you could always never have enough because sometimes we come from nothing. And so we think we got to get something, and it's a hustle all the time. So just keep that in mind. If it's just about the money, that's not enough. We have to be able to self-identify with the process. Like, I really want to do this because A, I love what I'm doing, and B, this is ultimately for me. And if I do me well, man, everybody else or all those other things behind me will also benefit from that. Okay. So, and this is, it's okay, is what I tell people, to be a little bit selfish during this time, meaning you can't, hop on Call of Duty as much or play FIFA or do the NFL. You just, certain things, you just, Snapchat streaks might end. Oh no. I mean, stuff like that. Like, things have to kind of slide away so that way you can actually focus on yourself and your process for a short period of time. If you are able to do that, if you really think about, you're only asking somebody or yourself for really about 90 days, maybe 120 days of your life, essentially. So that way you can focus on this journey in this process. So that way you can maximize what you're doing. So that way you can actually hopefully reap the reward of that. Okay. So if you really, I'm a numbers person. I shared this before. If you really want to ask yourself some of these questions, please do. There's 168 hours in a week. You're probably at test for, I don't know, maybe if at the most 30 hours of those. And so what are you doing the other hours? There's so much you can do. Okay. So much you can do. So just kind of keep that in mind. Where's my motivation coming from? If I'm stuck over here on rewards and punishment, or even thinking shame and guilt, kind of like, man, if I don't make it, like, no, we gotta get all the way over here to internal self-belief and identifying with yourself and like really pouring into what you need to do specifically during this journey, during this process, so that way you can maximize what you have and who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. Okay. Friends are great, but friends, if they're friends, they would understand that you're only asking for like a little bit of time, a few days, literally out of your life to be able to get yourself to where you're trying to get to. Okay. Hopefully that's real clear. Okay. All right. So this is just a little quick piece because I'm going to shift in a moment. I want to remind people when we're talking about setting up these goals that you've set up for yourself, and I've texted back and forth, and some of you guys will get it. I need your goal to be defined specifically. Okay. Some of you guys, you hit me up when we talked even in Jersey, like, oh, like maybe like less than a 4.3, 4.4, 4.8, maybe around. No, I need specifics because that's how your brain begins to operate. Your brain sees things in pictures. If you say that you want to run, faster than a 4.5, well, faster than a 4.5 has some numbers, and we need those numbers. Because if you just continually say to yourself 4.5, 4.5, then that's what your brain is hearing. Your body will do those things. So we have to get in the mindset, the mind frame of what? Being very specific. Okay, very, very specific with these goals. So if you have these goals, you've looked at these things, you really need to make sure that they are sharp. And I mean, hold you to a very high standard and be very, very specific around what it is that you're looking to do. It's got to be done. So sometimes you might, after this, you might have to actually adjust a little bit of the goals that you have for yourself. So that's what I'm telling you. All right. So the cool thing with this is that you have an opportunity to get really specific. And then if you have questions, to ask the experts that are around you. If it's a nutrition goal, if it's a speed goal, if it's a lifting goal, whatever splits goal, whatever those things might be, or even if it's a rehab goal, like literally you got to get healthy, you got to kind of fix some things on your body, whatever that might look like. You have experts around you that can help you get really specific and then really dial in. So that way you actually can begin meeting the goals that you all have set for yourselves. Okay. Perfect. I'm going to remove this. All right. Perfect. All right. So this is just kind of to give you guys a little bit of like what in the world is happening with Robert. Okay. This is it. The things that you think, they drive how you feel and what you do. Okay, this is just like a little picture. If you understand this, then you'll understand everything that I'm talking to you all about. You'll also start to understand how your process is going to continue to work. And you're going to also be able to have the right mindset, or at least the mindset of a champion ultimately. The things that you think, you have control over. That means they drive your feelings and your emotions. They drive your physical state. Ultimately, they impact your performance. Your performance is daily, for one. For two, we're also peaking to peak to peak. And that also goes for like pro day. That also goes for testing at test when you have to do it. That will also go for any individual workouts that you get an opportunity to do with the teams that you get to work out with. So just keep this in mind. The things that you think drive what you feel and what you do, ultimately impacting your performance. So you are in control over the things that you think. That's it. Not anybody else but you. So again, this is a you thing. And I want you just to be able to understand that this is actually how our brains operate and how they kind of take hold of the things that we're trying to accomplish and do. Okay. Perfect. All right. So I'm gonna transition a little bit. So hopefully everybody's where they need to be. Okay. We talked a little bit about why these goals are important. Okay. Why we need to make sure that they're very, very specific. We need to make sure that they are written on places and that we take pictures of whatever they are, so that way then they will show up when we start seeing the things that we see. So super important. Okay, hopefully everybody's tracking. All right. I'm gonna share something else with you guys. Move that for a second. So I'm making a small adjustment. We're just going to here. All right. Here are the things that I want you all to be able to do. I like to make sure that these sessions, I leave you with an actual to do. So I shared this like just a whoop last week to you Miami folks, actually. So here is an example of how we actually maximize time, how we actually start utilizing some, I call it the mental skills that are taught over a course of a period of time. But I'm going to, now that you know what your goals are, you get very specific. And then this is how you begin implementing the things that you need to do to start maximizing. So I'm literally giving this all to you today so that way you can get started on it. So we got notebooks, taking notes. That's crucial. We got an expo marker. We're going to be writing our goals down. We're going to either take a picture of that, or we're going to write them on a computer, take a picture, we're going to screenshot. They're going to be our background. Okay, super important. Now those are ways to implement, start going, getting your goals going. Okay, then the next thing is this. Before you leave the facility, or before you come, but ultimately before you leave the facility, this is something that I need you to do. Now, not everybody's going to do this. I'm just telling you guys, you're going to be looking to the left and looking to the right. People are just going to bolt and be out of there. It is what it is, but you'll start to see those who care enough that will do it. So before you leave the facility, depending on how many reps of 225 you want to lift, I need you to do them before you leave. Now you're like thinking, what do you mean? How do I do that? So this is how I want you to do that. I want you simply, no weight. If you feel like you need to put a weight on there, get real old school and put a 10-pound weight on there. I don't really care, but literally nothing is just as fine as something. But ultimately, I need you to go to the bench press. If you want to do 32 reps, then I need you to do 32 reps before you leave the gym on an empty bar. And this is the secret to this. I need you to start learning how, or at least practicing this, counting from 32, 25, 15, whatever your starting number is, to 1. So whatever your goal number is, if it's 32, I'm just making that up, and you get on the bench and you simply say 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. Kind of go slow. The bar don't weigh nothing, a little bit of something, but nothing for you all. But just kind of going through, you're kind of working on what? Technique and counting. Because ultimately, as an athlete, none of you want to finish 32. None of you want to finish 15. None of you want to finish 27. You all want to finish number 1. So it's easy for you. It's a little bit more motivation as well while you're doing this, to be counting in your head backwards if you want to, or out loud is fine. So that way you can work your way from whatever you're starting to number 1. And you're working on the technique of what you got. And ultimately, every day from now, because I just shared this with you, until you lift for your pro day or wherever it is, you will have done your max reps that many times. You won't be waiting until like, oh, I wonder if I can do 32 reps today at pro day. No, you've already done it. Now, was there weight on there? No, but your body doesn't know the difference between weight or no weight. I'm being honest. It's about the numbers. And so this will help you literally get over the hump. Sometimes people say this statement, part of it's true, that your mind can't do anything that it has not done before. yes and no, but let's just say that's a yes. So that means if that's the case, we're going to already do 32 reps. We're already going to do 24 reps. We're already going to do whatever it is for the bench press. We're already going to be doing it. We're going to do it before we leave every day from now until whenever. So that way you'll have, I don't know, if I were a mathematician, somebody really wanted to do this math, you're at test for 5 days a week, essentially, and however many more weeks, if you were to lift your maximum weight, that number, that goal number, that's probably like, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 times, somewhere in there. It's a lot of times. Before you now in your pro day, you can count the number of days that you have. I don't know what it is for some people. Some people it's late March, early May. I mean, not early May, early April, somewhere in there. So that way it'll kind of give you an idea of how many times I can do this and kind of really work through something that's pretty cool. So that's how we use our brain, some of the mental skills. It's called imagery. In addition to physical, something physical and imagery. Both those things together, we'll be able to lift that bar 32 times, 25 times, 28 times, whatever it is that you all think that you really want to do or try to accomplish for your goal. Boom, money. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay. I'll have you guys take us off mute in a second, but again, I've been doing this a minute. I'm telling you this works. You might think it's hokey. You might think this is weird. Okay, that's on you. But you should do it. You should do it. What happens is you get an opportunity to maximize the reps, meaning the brain gets an opportunity to see like, oh yeah, I can do things 32 times, or I can do something 20, whatever the number is. And you're also learning how to count backwards from some big number to the small number of 1. If you actually did that, to be honest with you, things would be a lot easier. If I asked you to do 100 push-ups, you probably could. But if you start from 1 and by the time you get to 72, you're like, man, this is a long way. Woo. But if I had you start from 100 and now you're at 30, that's a little different. Feels different. It's actually easier. It's like, man, I only got 30 to get to 1. Man, your math skills begin to work better. Trust me. Okay. So it's a lot easier to see only have 31 of these, and then, or like, I'm at 69. 69 to 100 is something. I don't know. I'll just keep going. But this is what I'm sharing. Okay. It helps. It's a small thing. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna have you guys take me off mute in both places. Whoa, no chaos. Just in case there's some questions that some folks have in general. And then if you have them, awesome. If you don't have them, I'll have one more thing to add.
I got questions. No, I'm just grateful that he got a chance to talk to us. The good words.
So what's the question? What's the question?
Any questions, guys?
You have any questions? Okay, listen. I'm gonna put you on. Somebody wants to say hello to y'all.
Hey.
What's up, player?
Okay. So, see, you guys are looking at the person that's going to eventually take your job. This guy right here. So I'm just saying he's getting all this good stuff early. So make sure y'all start implementing. He's 11. He stands up. You know, it's a different situation. What's up? Yeah. So that's how we do it. So if no one has any questions,
You guys have anything?
We gonna ever meet him in person?
yes.
There you go.
What's good, Dax?
Dang.
You see your people. Yes, I'll be there. I'll actually write that in the group thing as well when I actually will be in person with you all in Florida. And then I'll also let Jersey know when I will be back with them. They actually had an opportunity to meet me. So this is the last thing. It's going to be in the classroom by tomorrow. But this is something that you'll see in there. And I don't personally want you to give this back to me, meaning like I'm not asking you to like, hey, send this back or email it back to me or any of that. But I'm putting this in there. This is for you to kind of begin thinking about the people who inspire you and the characteristics that they have. I will speak to this a little bit next week, but this is for you. You can spend your own energy on this. This will just kind of help you start to understand that people inspired you. And hopefully what you start to understand is that you will begin to inspire others as well. Okay? Again, this is a little bit of that motivation. I'm inspired by other people, but I also have an opportunity to inspire others. So I just want you to start seeing these things. Okay? This is just a little personal space. I will put this in the classroom. This is what it's going to look like. Okay, just as a FYI, that's my last little thing for you, just so that you know that will show up in your class. Okay, personal philosophy, people who you've been inspired by, some of their characteristics, and then ultimately, I want you to be starting to think about who am I going to be inspiring. Okay, super important.
Love that.
Cool beans. Anybody else? Everybody has my phone number. I put it in there. Okay. If you care to, someone could write it down or whatever. But it's also in the classroom too. All right. Kevin, you have anything for me?
No, I think we're all set. We're all
All right.
set here.
Cool. And I'll make sure last week's thing was in there. I'm not really sure what's up. So I'll put it in there somehow.
Great.
I'll make it an assignment or something. Okay.
Any other
All right.
questions, guys? You good? All right, Robert. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Talk to you guys soon.
All right, guys. Thanks.